Hey YouTube, it's Jamar here from Vegas Sense. I got a brand new comparison video today. In this video, we're comparing two fragrances that are actually cloning YSL's Tuxedo. We're comparing those two to Tuxedo to see which one of these clones are actually the best one when it comes to accuracy of scent to YSL's Tuxedo. So the two clones are going to be Maison Alhambra's The Tux and Fragrance World's Suits. All right, and just before I get started with the video, always want to ask, if you're brand new to this channel, go ahead and leave a like on the video, also comment, and also subscribe to the channel and share the video. Lastly, definitely let the video play at least 60%. That definitely helps me with the YouTube algorithm and it helps the channel grow. All right. So just getting straight into this video, what I'm going to do is I am going to spray Suits on my left hand here, Tuxedo on my right, and the Tux right here. And we're just going to go over the differences of the opening. So we have Suits, have Tuxedo, and the Tux. So in my opinion, in the opening, the Tux seems to be definitely a little bit more accurate to how the opening of Tuxedo smells. There's sort of like this greenness that I was getting from Tuxedo that I wasn't getting from Suits really that much. And I am sort of getting that from the Tux. Now, it's not exactly the same. You can tell that the Tux is trying to replicate that smell, but it doesn't do it as, I guess you could say, as crisp or as sharply as what Tuxedo does. It's a little bit less natural with the Tux. And with Suits, at least in the opening of Suits seems to be just a little bit more sweeter, you could say. A little bit more sweeter. And in my opinion, and this also kind of rings true through the whole life of this particular fragrance, to my nose, Suits actually smells like slightly more concentrated. Now, this is a eau de parfum. The Tux is also eau de parfum, and I believe so is YSL Tuxedo. So these are all, supposed to be the same concentration. But like I said, with Suits, it just seems to be just a little bit more concentrated and, to my nose. Like Suits almost smells like it could be like a parfum and not an eau de parfum. All right, and so then as these are, kind of sitting on my skin here, these two are still sort of the Tux and Tuxedo. These two are still, I would say, the closest to each other in terms of, smell. And then in terms of Suits, like I said, Suits just seems to be a bit more concentrated, a little bit more sweeter. And in my opinion, slightly less loud than the Tux and Tuxedo. Like I said, this one, it definitely, at least on my skin anyway, this one is coming off as if it's like the parfum version of Tuxedo. Now, at this point, they all have sort of started to change a little bit. And in my opinion, I would say if you prefer, or if your favorite part of Tuxedo is, like that mid and dry down part of, the fragrance, Suits is actually the more accurate and the better fragrance, in my opinion, than the Tux. I've worn all three of these a few times now since I've gotten, this Tuxedo sample. And the main thing that I noticed with the Tux, as well as with Fragrance World's The Suits, is the difference was the patchouli note in the Tux. It's there, but it's like it's dialed all the way down to like 2, like a 2 out of 10. Whereas the patchouli note in this is at like, I would say a 7 or an 8 out of 10. And that's the same thing that I get with Tuxedo as well. The patchouli note in this, once it starts to dry down, really starts to come out and shine. It's like this really sort of sweet, smoky, almost kind of chocolatey, musky sort of patchouli note. And you don't really get that in the Tux. In my opinion, like I said, you get somewhat of a patchouli note, but the Tux it kind of goes to like this sort of vanillic, sort of spicy sort of scent, where the patchouli is like way in the background. With Suits and Tuxedo, that patchouli note is like front and center, and to my nose with these two. And like I said, it only takes maybe a few minutes before, these two really, really start to become more and more like each other. And this one sort of goes, I don't want to say in another direction. I think there's just not as much of an emphasis on that patchouli note in this one. This one still smells amazing. It does. To my nose, it doesn't smell as concentrated or strong. After probably about 2 to 3 hours or so. After about 2 hours, this one definitely has a lot less strength than what Suits has and what Tuxedo has. Now, in terms of like the overall longevity or performance, I get decent, performance out of this on skin. I would say I'll probably get about 6.5 hours or so before, it becomes like a dead skin scent. Whereas with Suits and Tuxedo probably turns into a skin scent after about 7.5 hours or so on my skin. And then with Suits goes at least about 8.5 hours or so. So Suits, to me, is actually a bit stronger or lasts a little bit longer than Tuxedo does. And like I said, in terms of the smell of these two, once these dry down, Suits and Tuxedo smells identical. They absolutely smell identical. Like I said, there was that slight little difference between Suits and Tuxedo, like in the initial opening of the fragrance. But again, once this dries down, to my nose, this is definitely the best YSL Tuxedo clone that you can find right now. Now, I know that there are other clones that are not, being mentioned in this video, such as Afnan's Tarathi Brown. You've got Mustache. I know Alexandria, they have their version, Black Tie Affair. I'm pretty sure Dua has one as well. So I haven't smelled Afnan Tarathi Brown. I haven't smelled Mustache, and I haven't smelled Dua's version if they have one. I think there's also supposed to be one from Pineapple Vintage or Parfums Vintage, I think is the name of the company. I haven't smelled any of those. So, I have seen people in the comments from the previous video mention that, one of those were like the best one. But I mean, from what I'm getting from Suits, when smelling it side by side with, YSL Tuxedo, I don't really know how something else could be better than this, just talking about in terms of like the accuracy of the scent. Like these are so close. I really cannot, pick out any sort of difference between these two right now. And I mean, typically there is at least some sort of difference. Maybe one is a little bit brighter than the other. Maybe one is a little bit stronger. In some cases, sometimes you can tell like the difference of complexity between the two. In this particular case, man, I mean, I guess maybe smelling these two and like really digging hard to find a difference. I guess I could say that the Tuxedo is like, I don't know, a couple of percent brighter right now. I mean, for the most part, overall, these smell exactly the same to me. But yeah, I could say possibly the Tuxedo is just slightly a bit brighter, But again, these aren't differences that, I would say that you would be able to tell in the air. You wouldn't be able to tell these in the air at all. Now, Tuxedo goes for, I believe, around $200 for a bottle. This Fragrance World Suits, I was able to pick this up for $55. So it's more expensive than what you can find the Maison Alhambra The Tux for. Depending on what site you get it from, you can pick this up for like $20. So, in terms of, I guess, price to performance or price to value, this one is probably the better value, because it comes super close to Tuxedo. Like I said, it's missing that patchouli note that Tuxedo has. But, if price really isn't a thing that you need to worry about, Suits, in my opinion, is it's a little bit better than what the Tux is. And I'm pretty surprised that this fragrance hasn't really gotten, too much press about it, So let me know, man. Have you all smelled these two clones of YSL Tuxedo? Also, have you smelled Tuxedo with these clones? And what do you think the differences are? Do you agree with my assessment of these fragrances? And again, if you found the information in this video helpful, again, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, also share the video. Let the video play through at least 60%. trying to grow this channel so that we can get more content. All right. So again, that's Jamar from Vegas Sense. I'll see you on the next video.